Best of 5.
Don't twist our arm, Trevor, but we will. But first off, super excited to see these two teams, team fighting comms, fighting. That's the beginning of a series. There's a lot more to break down, so go ahead.
Let's just start by praising Unicorns of Love for saying they're scaling poke compositions. We ran into the regular split. It's not going to work. We need to change up. The meta is moving on. Power Weaver locking in Victor for the first time this split here. And let's just pull up
even more surprising than the Anivia.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's key for me because Power Vivo as a mid laner had fallen a little bit behind in terms of champion picks, and it was harder for him to carry games. And now he started pulling out this Victor here, which is so key for the pick and ban phase moving forward also in this matchup.
And I really liked just the Victor pick out of Unicorns for a couple of reasons, because the Orianna ban comes out because they say, hey, look, we know you've got to blind pick your mid lane. You haven't really played the Izzy, haven't played the Victor, so what are you going to play? Turns out he's been practicing the Victor, picks it up this time. Also, interestingly, no Shen prioritized at all in this matchup.
But here's the thing, if we look at the composition that ROCCAT was building here, which is of course a little bit different because of the Anivia coming in. It is a kite composition where Anivia works really well in terms of protecting a hyper carry. Again, you add a ton of CC, you got a slow from Mr. Raleigh, you got the slow coming in from Nuke Dog. So as long as we have Unicorns of Love forced to engage near objectives on them, you can use all this zone control here. Problem is Annie. Annie comes in, she can build distortion early on. So again, first of all, you have Tippers with the long range. Also, you get the flash cooldown. And then the key thing that happened in this matchup was that Chachi got a very early ban of command. That meant suddenly the whole game is now turned, because what he's going to do is he's going to buff up one of the side minions, or like one of the minions in the side lanes every single time. So he creates a push right there that ROCCAT always have to go and deal with. That means suddenly ROCCAT cannot properly group up for objectives, or it forces ROCCAT into a situation where they have to engage onto Unicorns to stop some of the pressure coming from multiple lanes. And can you do that with Anivia? No. Suddenly Power Weevil becomes the carry in the backline, nobody can reach him. And Unicorns can just do whatever they want. They can engage, they can disengage.
Yeah, banner of command, very important. The early magic resistance coming out of them as well, actually saying, okay, you're going to have to go very late if you want to penetrate what we have. And Nautilus was de facto unkillable after a while. And what was central in this, what we may forgetting, we were always saying, okay, Unicorns let it go late. Now they had a comp that they had to force it early, and Hilly was so crucial in that in the beginning. Let's pull up one of the replays, because he makes a lot happen in the early.
He's a god.
Yeah, I mean, he's back on form by this game. This is the very first gank for First Blood. So basically, this is after they've swapped down to bottom lane. Hilly's not even anywhere near top. The top lane right now isn't exactly the important thing either. Unicorns have said at some point in the next minute or so, we're going for Steve. Coincidentally, there's a fight. Basically, at this point, Hylissang says, VODS, we've lost the trade, we've lost lane pressure. I'm getting out of this. This is what I've done before. I'm going elsewhere on the map to sort the early game out.
Yeah, and then we see the second fight also in the early game. Vanda's kind of baiting in the bush here to start set up the fight, but look here. TP from Steve is so far back, it's very difficult for him to join. Chachi, on the other hand, he has a good ward to join in with. The fight gets instantly won by Unicorns. And again, it's so key with certain item changes that happen in the game. Prepper was highlighting the Moby boots for Hylissang, so he could rush to top lane a bit faster. But also the early trade that happened between the two dual lanes that forced VODS back to base on a pickaxe. That was why the lane was lost. Had he been able to pick up BF sword and into a Phage, they could have gone even, it would have been okay. But when he had a pickaxe into Phage, he had level 6 on Mr. Raleigh, the lane was basically over in that case. Hylissang's like, you know what, I'm not going to waste my time, I'm on Annie, I'm going to start roaming. Exactly like he did last split in the playoffs, and he started making plays around the map, and that snowballs the whole thing. And this comp here as well, from ROCCAT, with Elise and Alistar, you're setting up for tower dives. You're setting up for early dives where you don't want to risk a gank. No, you want to go straight for the dive. You have damage reduction, repel, everything. Problem is, you had 0 pushing lanes. Rumble's going to get pushed in by Nautilus. Mid is going to nullify each other. And bot lane, the Civ is going to push in as well. So there was no dives to be set up at all after they start falling behind.
Yeah, with the banner of command, the lanes were pushed. So ROCCAT had to engage, but it ended up being Hilly. And we're going to show the last replay here of the decisive team fight where he decides to flash in. And it was just a beautiful combo.
And this is just the thing Unicorns could do. You can wait for the engage and you can kite back with Sivir and Victor, or you can have the flash distortion coming in, and of course Chachi being that front tank and having such a fantastic performance together with the rest of Unicorns. I'm very excited now for this series because we saw these changes. It is no longer pure late game scaling for Power Weevil and so on. Mid game power, and it worked.
And that team fight all stemmed from ROCCAT being a little greedy. They were in the Baron pit. Unicorns are calling their bluff already. ROCCAT have two options. You either go up and lose your mid tower, or you try and go through the jungle and hope they don't engage on you. But it's an Annie and a Nautilus with Righteous Glory. That's just, it's greed. Maybe that'll work once every 4 or 5 times if the team are really playing just back and defensive. But Unicorns had showed that they weren't playing defensively. Every time there was the opportunity, get onto one of the carries, Unicorns would just start the fight.
We do need to see, though, more focus on vision control, both teams. 0 side zones from the junglers, no upgraded sweepers. That is why the game also stalled out. They couldn't bait the Baron properly, and ROCCAT couldn't bait the Baron either because there was 0 vision control for both teams, honestly.
Yeah, although this was an exciting ending for UOL, I still think it became pretty close, and I think we have got an amazing series on our hands. We need to take a quick break to recover from that, but when we return, it is Game 2 between the Unicorns of Love and ROCCAT. But first, let's turn to the top lane and see how Steve went from baking cookies to the big stage.
170